Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to my channel, The Jack of All Trades. My name is Leo for another episode, and in this week's video we're going to be talking about home automation. Alexa, master bedroom hallway on.
Okay.
Alexa, master bedroom hallway red.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on rope light.
Okay.
Alexa, lock the door.
Locking. Hang on.
Alexa, turn on headboard.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on main lights. Alexa, turn on Sammy's light. Alexa, turn on backyard.
Okay.
So as you can see, home automation is actually really cool. It's something I got into maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been hooked ever since. But it's something that I did not do or purchase all at once. Although I wanted to, I started noticing that a lot of this was expensive and it was adding up rickety tick. So as the years went by, I started looking, shopping online. Now granted, some of these items were pretty expensive back in the day. Maybe for one of these switches, you were paying about $60. Now you're paying about $50 to $40 depending on what you want and what kind of home integration system you have. I know there's quite a couple out there. There is Google, there is by Alexa, there is by all sorts of interesting companies. The one I use specifically is Wink or Wink Hub. I have the second version, which I will show you later on in this video. It cost about $100 and some when it first came out. Version 1 is now down to like $50, and the one I have, version 2, is now $99. I don't think it's that bad for what it has to offer. I really like that it is maybe like open source, if you want to call it that. It has a number of peripherals that I will go over that you can use, whether that's Bluetooth technology, that's Wi-Fi technology, or you can have Zigbee or ZWave. It all depends what component you are getting. Not everything integrates, so I will tell you the headaches that I had and what worked for me. First and foremost, you need the brains of the operation. So in this case, like I said, I decided to go with the Wink Hub. Originally, it was just the Wink Hub. I currently have the Wink Hub 2. I bought mine for $99. It looks like they don't sell this separate anymore, but it's not too bad. You can see here that you can buy one for $109 and it comes with 2 bulbs. So not bad. Another one with $139 comes with 3 bulbs. It looks like a different kind of bulb, and so forth and so forth. So it all depends what you want. Personally, I just start out with 109 because I don't think that you're going to be using too many of the bulbs, and I'll explain to you why later on. But granted that each bulb is about $10 and you're getting 2 of them, I think you're getting a pretty good deal. So why did I decide to go with Wink Hub instead of maybe perhaps Samsung SmartThings or the Google one, or etc.? When I was looking at what everything had to offer, I looked at this specific device provided the Bluetooth LE, ZWave, ZWave Plus, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, Bluetron devices. I mean, you can connect door locks, window sensors, tilt sensors, light switches, etc., etc. So it just seemed like the possibilities were a lot more open, that I could add more devices. So right off the bat, I said, you know, instead of maybe tying myself down to something like the new Apple product that you have to specifically buy certain Apple devices, which could probably run you a lot more since it is Apple. I thought that this was a better option for me. Now, if you see here, this is exactly how I set mine up. I do like the ability that this Wing Hub 2 has a Ethernet port at the back. So unlike the first hub that you had to connect everything wirelessly, this has internet actually going in wired. So I'm a big fan of wired protocols or devices. I like the flexibility of wireless devices. I just don't think that they are as reliable. So having this really, I guess, just changed my mind towards getting the Wing Hub 2. I know this looks kind of complicated, so I'm going to do my best to explain it because I really think that once you understand this concept, it'll be a lot easier to set up your environment or your home automation system. The first thing that you need is an internet service provider or ISP. I personally have AT&T. You can get Spectrum. You can get whoever it is that you want. That is connected directly to, for example, the Hue Hub and the Alexa voice command system, I guess, and the Wink Hub, right? So you can see here by the purple dotted lines, that is kind of how those things are communicating. So the ISP communicates to the hubs, and then they kind of talk back and forth. The Hue directly talks to the Wink. The Wink in turn then turns on anything that you'd like. For example, the Hue lights, regular light bulbs, your thermostat, your locks, your connected devices, etc. In the case of the iPhone, I have an iOS. So the iOS or the Wink app connects to the internet. Um, Once it reaches the internet service provider, then it talks to the Wink hub and it starts turning on whatever it is that you want. So you're on the road and you want it to go from 80 to 76 degrees because you're about to get home. Then this is how you would talk to it, or how it talks to each other. Now, if you notice, almost everything is internet service provider based. So that is the downfall of this system. So when my internet goes down, I can't utilize the app or Alexa or anything else automatically. So I would have to physically go and turn on the light or move my thermostat, turn some lights off, etc. In the case of the Hue lights, for example, the Hue light requires for you to change out the bulb and then turn on the switch and leave the switch on. So if you turn off the switch and the internet comes back and you forgot to turn it back on, then that is going to say that it's offline because it's not, I guess, communicating. So that is really what sucks. In the case of maybe a power outage or an internet outage, it goes out, whether it be the internet or the power. Once it comes back online, everything else starts connecting automatically to the Wink, so do the Hue lights. But remember I told you that you have to leave the switch on. When you get back home, sometimes you'll see that all your Hue lights are on, which then you kind of realize like, oh, the lights went out at one point or another. If you're a little bit more active and you go into the Wink app and you start every once in a while start noticing that your lights are all on, that's probably what happened. You have an internet or a power outage, and now you just kind of have to go in the app and shut them all off. I don't really have this problem. It's happened to me a couple of times, so I thought I would just kind of put it out there. But it's not really something that you might say like, oh, should I be concerned about it? In the span of a year, maybe it happens 2, 3 times. At least in my case, I'm not sure how reliant your internet service is, or especially your light service. Okay. So once you have installed your actual physical Wink device or hub, you're going to want to download the Wink app. And this is an overview more or less of what it looks like. This is the home screen or your dashboard, and you can see that every single peripheral that you add will be displayed here for your convenience so you can access it quickly. Some of the things will only tell you a status, like for example the smoke alarm, it just says green, everything's fine. You just kind of just move along from there, nothing to do. The lights, on the other hand, for example, here you can go ahead and dim them. You can turn them off. In this case, I see that my wife left the rope light on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And you can kind of just scroll. The ones that have an X are not connected currently. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But this is pretty much the bread and butter of what people want to do. Be able to turn on your devices and turn them off. Okay. You can make groups if you'd like to, and you can have different services. I don't use the services, I just do everything manually, but at least you have the option to do that. You have some sensors that'll tell you some temperatures, if lights are on, if they're offline, when they became offline. You can set all this to alert you if that's what you choose to do. The Ring app, the Ring only pretty much ties it in, but you can't see the camera from here. You would actually have to open up the Ring app, which is not as cool, but I mean, I understand where they were coming from that perspective. I personally have the thermostat, the Nest thermostat, but it no longer has support as of this year. You can create shortcuts. I don't have any at this time, but you can see here that it's kind of like the if then do that kind of process. As I'm scrolling down, you can see that you can see the robots, you can see all of your devices as well. So these are the robots that I have created myself. You can see here, for example, my kid's bed. If I were to click on this, every sunset, every sunrise, it'll turn on, turn off by itself, etc., etc. Okay. Again, here's another one that tells you to notify you and sound the alarm if the smoke detector goes off. So all of these I created myself. This is the activity log. If you keep kind of scrolling, you can see where I turned off the rope light just now. And then here you can see where the automation happens. So the orange ones are the ones that I have automatically just set to go off and on. And adding this stuff is really easy. It's a breeze. You can see here where you go and you click on add, and it lets you choose whatever it is that you're doing. So word of advice, when you go out shopping, look at your list and see what is compatible. I'll talk a little bit about this issue that I had later on, but here you would just kind of check. You can see that you even have the ability to get generic things. Word of caution on that, and go down the list. Once you actually know what you want to do, for example, here we'll click on Cree light bulb. Super simple. It gives you a step-by-step set of instructions. Do your thing, hit connect, and you're on your way. Alright guys, if you take anything away from this video and the only thing you pay attention to is this section, awesome, because in the long run it's going to save you a lot of money and a lot of headaches. What I ended up doing was I started messing around with the dashboard and noticed that I had the ability to add generic sensors, generic lights, etc., etc. So in this case, I opted to go with a utility tech water sensor, leak sensor. I have a 150-gallon tank, and sometimes my sump has overflowed. When I get home, there's water on the floor. So in this case, I thought to myself that I could just buy a generic ZWave sensor and I can make them communicate, thus saving myself some money or getting exactly what I wanted. Nope, completely wrong. So I'm not sure why this doesn't work, but even though they both communicate using Z-Wave technology, they just don't connect. So don't even waste your time or your money. You're not gonna make it work. Here's another example of how I spent, at the time, $180 or so. I got this really cool Soma Blind to automate my blinds. I used it for my patio door. In this case, it speaks Bluetooth LE, which the Wink Hub has, but you cannot connect it. So I'm not sure what was going on there. I was trying to save myself the $99, prevent myself from having to buy the hub, but it just didn't connect. It didn't work. So now that's that. These are just a few of the items that I had or that I started buying, like the Quirky here. You can see that I have my Amazon plug at the bottom because only the top one is the one that is smart activated that turns these lights on. The Cree connected bulb, I don't recommend these. I mean, the price point is great, but it really gets disconnected, which is something that really irks me. These iHome smart plugs are a workhorse. I have two of them. I have one connected to a fan and I have another connected to my headboard for my bed in my master bedroom. They're very responsive. I don't have any issues with them and I really recommend them. This is the setup, for example, with the Cree and the iHome. So like I said, one's connected to the fan and the other one is just a light that is connected, which all of it is behind my couch. You can't see it from the front, so whenever I turn the fan on, it circulates air, and at night it gives it a nice glow from the back of the couch. Kind of just an accent piece, if you will. These are some of the switches I own. For example, the Decor Smart Switch with ZWave technology. It's about $50. These things are okay. I don't necessarily run to these. I just don't like the fact that I have trouble connecting them in the beginning during the setup. But once they're connected, I've never had issues. These, on the other hand, I love these. These are a workhorse. I recommend them, highly, highly recommend them. I like the way they look. I like the way they feel. Once I connected them, which was a breeze, by the way, I've never messed with them. They continue to just work, period, year after year, month after month, without me doing anything at all. And as far as the look is concerned, you can see here where I have a GE and a Leviton switch. In this one I have a Leviton and just normal switches. You can't really tell the difference other than maybe the little lights, slight variations, but overall, even if you start mixing and matching from a glance, you won't really be able to see the difference. So if you're worried about the aesthetics of it, you know, you can see here that it might not be that big of a deal. I'm not even going to talk about these, just run away, take a mental note, trash, next. To replace those other sensors, I ended up going with the SmartThings by Samsung. And you can find them in Best Buy. I think I bought them for like $14–15 on sale. They're pretty good, pretty hardy. I have not had any issues with them disconnecting. I have all of this paired up with a Dome Automation ZWave chime. Look at the size of this thing, and it is pretty loud. Can't beat the price for that. At the time, I had a more traditional home, so I opted for this deadbolt. I don't regret it other than the look. It looks a little bit, I guess, just traditional, but other than that, it's a very solid deadbolt. I know that it has 3.5 stars on Amazon, but I've never had any trouble. As a matter of fact, it'll always warn me before the batteries run out, so I know that I always have to change it. Rekeying was pretty simple. The guy didn't have any issues, so overall, pretty happy with it. And finally, the Hue lights. I thought that these things were awesome when they first came out. I really still think that they are really cool lights. But like I said, the only thing I don't like is that I have to keep the light switch on in order for them to continuously have power so that they can be online. Of course, I have guests come over, especially, you know, my relatives like my mom, my dad, who are a little bit older. They're not going to understand to like just leave the switch alone. The other thing is you're not always close to Alexa, or you know, you have your phone handy, so that can be a very big inconvenience. So usually I reserve these for when I'm having a party or something like that, or a game. I turn them on to the team colors and, you know, just kind of give the house kind of like that vibe and ambiance. But other than that, I really don't use them for everyday use. So there it is, guys. Pretty much a huge overview of how I have my home automation system. I know I didn't go into a lot of details. I didn't want to make this video super long. Some of these things I'm sure you can find on how to set this up, how to connect them, how to wire them, etc. But I just kind of wanted to give you an overview for those of you who might be interested in perhaps the Wink or the Smart Hub or Alexa, whatever the case may be, so that you can make a better decision of if you think that this is something that will benefit you or will uh, just basically do what you're wanting it to do, right? So in regards to the other systems, I don't know, but hopefully it helps you make a determination with the Wink. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next week.